Would you forgive someone who killed your daughter or son? Have a look at this image. In 2014, this man was sentenced to be executed in Iran for murdering his childhood friend. He stood on a chair with a rope on his neck, and in accordance with the Sharia law, a family member of the victim has to kick the chair, killing him, or slap him on the face and release the loop, which means they forgive and pardon him. The victim's mother chose the more difficult option, to forgive. She gave him a symbolic slap, and her husband, the father of the victim, removed the rope noose. The mother said to the British Guardian that she believed this was the right thing to do, and that anger disappeared from her heart and the blood resumed its normal circulation. To revenge is human, said Oskar Schindler, but to forgive is divine. That same Iranian mother earned a divine spark that will remain in her for the rest of her life. And we all have this divine spark, the ability to rise above the moment, beyond logic, beyond ourselves, and the feeling is divine. Let's be honest, most of us are not like this Iranian mother, and fortunately, the decision of punishment is not in our hands. And yet, how do you forgive someone who hurt you? Because forgiveness requires mental strength, but it's possible and crucial for our mental health. So how do you forgive these scumbags who we hate? May their soul burn to hell. Sorry, I forgot. We talked about this. Calming down and blunting the emotions. Well, the good news is that you don't have to forgive immediately. In fact, you cannot. In studies I have read, I was surprised to discover that different and varied sources on this subject suggest that if you want to forgive, you need to do it 77 times. For example, in the book of Genesis, God says, if Cain is avenged 7 times, then Lemech 77 times. After Cain kills Abel, instead of killing him, God exiles him to another country for 7 generations, 77 years, because only then can forgiveness be honest and authentic. The book of Matthew says, then Peter came to Jesus and asked, Lord, how many times shall I forgive my brother who sins against me? Up to 7 times? And Jesus answered, I tell you, not just 7 times, but 77 times. In Buddhism, it is recommended that you repeat the forgiveness chant many times so that it becomes authentic. Not to mention that the whole issue of forgiveness is one of the cornerstones of Buddhist philosophy. 77 times. Why? Why not forgive once and be done with it? Well, I'm not sure that this is a scientific number, but the idea of forgiving repeatedly is wise and interesting. I will tell you something that you probably already know. When we tell someone that we forgive him, we don't really forgive him. This is, lip service. The forgiveness is not really felt in our hearts. When I tell someone who hurt me, listen, Maya, I forgive you, I don't really believe myself. I'm just trying to do the right thing. But I haven't really forgiven her. Even if I say it again the next day, Maya, it's okay, I forgive you, I still don't believe myself. But if I repeat this mantra again and again, say 77 times, then forgiveness will seep into consciousness. The mind starts understanding and believing in the concept of forgiveness. It adopts the forgiveness, making it a permanent pattern, as in everything that we repeat many times. This is how our mind works. Our sages did not know that one day this method would be called NLP, and that it is based on solid evidence that you can train the mind to change thought and emotional patterns based on guided imagination. In Christopher Nolan's fantastic movie Inception, an idea is actually planted in somebody's mind, re-entering deeper levels of the subconscious. All our lives, we have been subject to manipulations of planted memories, whether real or fake. Engraving ideas and thoughts in the human mind is a fact. And ironically, it is easier than what we would like to think. Remember that we talked about the software that we install in our minds? The forgiveness software is no different. Repeating our forgiveness again and again will instill it in the deepest layers of our memory, will dull the emotions that accompanies it, and the mind will eventually signal to us, please stop, that's enough. We've already forgiven him. He doesn't interest us anymore. Let's move on. Yes, even to that extent. And please note, it is not necessary to tell the person who harmed us that we forgave him. It is more important to tell ourselves and imagine the person. I don't need to meet Maya to forgive her. I can imagine saying this to her and feel it in my heart that I meant it. Imagination is just as strong as reality. Remember, if we don't manage to forgive, we punish only ourselves. Understand? We are punishing ourselves for someone else's deed.